Hello, welcome to my craft room. Carol Gatton, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and one of my students in my third Thursday class requested to make this card from the Sale-a-bration catalog. So I thought, well, if that class is interested, maybe some of you are as well. So here goes. I'm using the Memento ink pad, and that is designed to work with alcohol-based inks. So I will ink that up, and I am putting that not dead center, but I'm raising it up ever so slightly and putting that in the center. Okay, and when I'm first starting to use a stamp and I'm not sure of my colors or how I want to shade that, I always stamp more than one. Sometimes I do 3. I will practice, and then on that last card that I am working with, I try to perfect it onto that one. It's just a little tip. This is the finished product. Now I'm going to set aside this practice one because I have already done my practicing, but I hope that'll help you to try something like that. And that's something I do all the time. I am using the Daffodil Delight Blendabilities to start with, and I've chose to use the medium and lightest, and I want to use the small barrel on this marker. And as I start in, I'm making teeny tiny little circles, and I'm just going around and around and around, and I'm not going to color this all in with this medium ink. I want to leave a light spot there that will give it more interest and depth. And so now I'm doing just above the beak with the medium. Now this is our lightest color. I didn't give you any heads up on this, but I wanted to I wanted to do this at my own speed, and so I am trying to cut out as much of this video as I can so that you can see the technique and not me capping and recapping. Okay, so now we will bring this down, and you are blending that lightest color in with that darker. And try not to continue to go over that lightest spot, because pretty soon it'll all look the same if you do that. And make sure you always recap. That's really important with the alcohol markers. Okay, next is our cherry cobbler. And I'm going to follow the lines of the artist, and I'm just going to make little circles, and I'm coming, and you probably are noticing I haven't always hit right dead center on the line, and it's because I want to leave a few lighter places, just like I'm leaving my center portion there as my lightest spot. I like a little variation of color. And I'm basically following the outline here on the wings as to what the artist has done. I'm just making little dash marks. And now for my little berries, I'm just going to lightly tap down because these are tiny. So let's bring in our second color. This is our lightest. And you're going to notice throughout this video, I'm always starting on the darkest color and bringing the colors in. And when you're blending it in, you keep blending from the outside in. See how I keep circling and coming into that. You do not want to over color that lightest spot. And this little portion right here I missed on a couple of my birds, and then I noticed it, but I'm going to draw it to your attention so you don't do that. This is the sweetest little bird. I looked up online, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is a finch. I looked at all kinds of finches, and boy, do they ever vary in color and size and shape. But anyway, so I am going to finish coloring my wings, and I will go over my berries once again, but I stress to you very lightly. Don't put a lot of pressure because that will spread. Okay, I've been looking at this, and I have decided that it needs a little more shadowing in there, and that's what this darkest color does. It shadows it out. So right at that beak, I want to be shadowed. So I am using the darkest in my Daffodil Delight, and now I'm bringing back the lightest. And if you notice, I'm going over what I just colored. I'm blending that out. Does that make sense to you? Blending it out. That's why you want to go over what you've just done to pull it out. That color will still be moving. And next I'm going to do the branch. I'm going to do the smallest parts first. And I chose to use the skin tones, and I picked out for my lightest the blush, which is this one. And I'm going to basically color in almost all of this branch in that, staying in the line. Don't go out of the line on this. And just carry that across. And I'm making little bitty circles. I'm always trying to do little circles. You can probably tell by the motion of my hand. And I know a branch isn't a blush color, but I wanted a light tone for that. And then I also added it right at the tail feathers on my bird. And with this, you want to just be very careful to stay in that line. And I'm just doing little strokes here. I'm not trying to do anything but that, because this is so narrow. You can't really do a whole lot more. And then capture the rest of that branch with this bronze color, and then we'll blend that together. But first, before we do that, let's get these little branches here. And I recommend you use a very light hand, because these are very narrow. And it'll go off of those branches a little bit, but that's okay, and it looks really pretty. I'm bringing back my blush color, and I am now blending the two together, and you'll see just how nice that turned out. I was trying to capture what the artist had done in her card in the Sale-a-bration catalog, but it was like I'm having to guess. Okay, Costa Cabana, my favorite. I love, love, love this color. And I'm working with the medium once again, and I'm following the outlines of the artist. So I want to highlight all of those first so that I don't get into this and forget to do that. Circle, circle, circle. I'm using the broad tip on this because I have a larger area. With the areas that were very tiny, I used only the barrel that was the smallest. And you can see now that I'm beginning to circle in with this, and I'm going back around it a second and a third time. And then I'm going to make like a half circle down here underneath the branch to begin to bring that color in. And now this is my lightest color, and it looks like I'm not really doing anything, but I am blending, starting right where that medium color is, and I am blending and pulling that out. If you'll go to my blog at Stamp Queen 101, there I have taken pictures of the birds in different stages so that it'll make it a little easier for you to have something that's not moving and you're able to look at it. And also I have this sequence of how I'm using the blendabilities. So for the medium, the lightest, and the darkest. Now right in this belly area, this is just really, really important that you don't overkill right where you have that light spot. And now I'm going to bring this down and continue with these tail feathers. If you've never used the blendabilities before, if you've worked with any alcohol markers, you're going to find that they're just like that. Okay, for our beak, I had just gotten in this Night of Navy, and I was so tickled that I did. I went online to look at the coloring in the finch, and one of them had a beak that had a lot of blue in it, so I'm trying to copy that idea. Now this is the medium. I started with the lightest this time, and this is the medium, and it's because I'm putting just a little bit, and I'm trying to stay right at the bottom of that beak. And then I'm making 3 dots right where that little circular area is in the eye to add color. Now in the finches that I saw online, they all had black eyes, but I didn't want to do that. I think this is a dark color and it doesn't pop that much, but I always stop and look as I go along to figure out what I need to do next. And once I've got this almost finished now, I see that my belly doesn't look round enough on my finch. So I am bringing in the darkest color in the Costa Cabana, And I want you to see that I'm being pretty sparingly with it. But what I'm trying to do is add shape and shadows. So now back to the lightest again, and I will blend that darkest out. So I'm working right where that I have just colored, and then I'm pulling it out. Can you see that? Does that make sense to you? I had never worked with alcohol-based markers before, so this was all new to me, and I watched a ton of videos when it first came out, and I wasn't having very much success, so I decided to try it my way, and this is it. I find that by working with the two lightest and then adding the darkest when I feel like it needs more shadowing, that works for me. And if I've helped one person, I'm happy. That's the whole goal for doing these videos, is to try to help you. Be sure and check this out at my website, Stamp Queen 101, and until next time, we'll be making our card. Thank you.